guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Katelyn, and today we are finally finishing off the jungle biome creature creations. So yes, technically we're finishing off like the final design, but I will still be doing a final large render of them all together to kind of show the different sizes and shapes of them all side by side, as well as trying to paint like a background for them all to exist on. Backgrounds aren't my specialty, so we will see how that video will go. So that will be the next one coming out in basically the final one in this mini series. I have gotten a couple comments asking if I would do another biome mash series, and I did enjoy this. It was a little bit more work, at least in terms of having to coordinate all of them to work together. I wouldn't be against doing it again. So real quick in the comments, if you have a biome you want to see me like make creatures from, leave it down in the comments below, like desert, maybe a different type of like forest, or maybe the Arctic, lots of different options. So let me know down below. Okay, anyway, let's get into this last scavenger. So you guys left a lot of comments again, and you guys think of all the best creatures to use for these combos. So let's go through and look at some of the different animals I picked from your guys' suggestions. So first off, for this mash, we're going to be doing a mandrill. I think these are really cool looking creatures. I think having all of the color and the texture from the face will really add a cool element to our final creature design. Next up is a howler monkey, and I actually got this suggestion here on Twitch. I'm making this creature live on Twitch, so if you guys want to hang out and see me draw creatures live, go to twitch.tv/KMcCaigue, give me a follow. But one of my followers suggested doing a howler monkey, and I wanted to do this one both because I wanted the option of using a tail when we're doing these concepts, and then I really liked how the fur and the folds around the throat are like for the howler monkey, so I wanted to use that as well. And then for the third creature, I wanted to do a capybara. I love these little creatures. I mean, they're pretty big rodents, but little, I guess, to us. I think it's a really cool face shape that we could use, and I just loved this suggestion when I saw it in your guys' comments. And then finally, we have a giant isopod. I didn't even think about diving into, I guess, like water-based scavengers, because if I remember correctly, isopods live in the water and scavenge around the seafloor trying to find anything that's left over from dead animals and or plants. I don't know much about isopods, as you can maybe tell, and I'll probably be corrected in the comments, but I wanted to use this one because it incorporates a marine-based animal, which has been kind of the common theme. And yes, I've been using reptiles for all the other mashes, but this one just felt right to use an isopod. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna combine these four creatures into our final design. I'm gonna do a couple of rough sketches and try to figure out where we wanna go with this. I think I already have something mentally in mind, but let's jump in and do the sketch for this and see where we go. All right, let's jump into these initial rough sketches of this creature. And there was like a lot of options we could have went with this creature design in general, but I really wanted to lean into the primate side of the creature. I really like the body structure of the primates, and I realized I haven't really done a lot of primate-based creature monster mash things, and I felt this was like the perfect final scavenger. We got a really cool airborne one, and then this one would be cool to like jump in and out of the trees, but could also interact with creatures or like prey on the ground and in the water. I just thought it would be perfect, but I want to do a couple other sketches of if I made it more similar to the capybara body structure and just kind of feel that out as well, and like try some different body parts and different anatomical structures instead of just initially going with the primate, but I just like the primate so much. Okay, so here are the three sketches I made for this concept, and I'm really digging this first one that I did. I feel it fits perfectly with the idea of I guess like a primate type creature that would go in, steal maybe some food, or they would forage for different like fruits or nuts or different things that are available in their tropical jungle. And I think it's just kind of a really cool design. I have a soft spot for putting like like basically plated armor on creatures. So using the isopod segments as armor on this, I felt just fit really well. And while I did like using the isopod arms type of little claws on number 2, I just think it works better when it has more of the primate arm structure. At least for the narrative I have in my brain, I think this one's gonna work best for our creature combo food chain thing. And yeah, 3, I just wasn't really digging. I just was like working on it and just didn't really like where the concept was going. So I'm really liking where number 1 is though. So I'm gonna take this sketch and we're gonna start hashing out the final concept. We will do the side profile, and I think I'm gonna do a male and female for this one because the mandrill also has male and female specific coloring. So I think it would be really cool to do that for this as well. So we'll do a side profile of both of them and then do some exploratory sketches to show the audience more about these creatures. So let's jump in and get those started. So now it's time to jump in and do our final drawing of our final scavenger in this little mini series. So I brought in our apex predator so that I could do a size comparison to try to figure out how big I wanted these things to be. I didn't want them to be like small monkeys, but I didn't want them to be like huge either. So I kind of went for an in-between of like maybe a slightly larger mandrill, because I feel mandrills are maybe a little bit smaller than this creature based off of how I've seen them in the wild, or not in the wild. I haven't seen mandrills in the wild. In the wild as in the zoo. But basically I wanted it to be a little bit bigger, but not like, you know, as large as an ape and not as small as some of the monkeys come. So I was like, I felt like a good size overall. I think I might mess around with it in the final render though, because once I kind of put these all together, I felt a lot of these were similar in size overall, and just felt like they were kind of in the same size category. So I might mess around with the final size when I have these together and, you know, I can compare them. But for now, I was really happy with this size overall. So I jumped in and started experimenting with some different colors. I know that the isopod was very much a tannish, brownish creature, and a lot of the other animals we have in this kind of have more of like the browns overall. But for this one, I wanted to take a lot of the mandrill colors and basically spread them across the body in general. Mandrills have a lot of colors in their face, as well as like around their, like, I think it's mostly the butt. Let's be real, the butt has most of the colors. It's like they have the face with the pinks and the reds and the blues, and I feel it's the same on their butt. So I was like, let's just take that and put it across the creature in general and have the plating be this really cool, shiny, iridescent, like rainbow coloring. I just loved it so much. And these guys aren't like predators in any way, as in like they won't need to hide within the bush at all or within the trees to, I guess, sneak up on prey. So it kind of works that they are very brightly colored. I do later on, I'll touch on it later on, that they do somewhat hunt in a way, but I'll show you what that is later. But I don't think it will be as important if they are like super colorful for that type of hunting. But I wanted to make the males very colorful, very bright, very vibrant. And then for the females, I talk about it a little bit later too, but I don't mind telling you guys here as well. I wanted to have the different male-female color comparison, but I didn't want to make the females just brown or like tan, like a lot of creatures in our world are. Like the males have really vibrant and amazing colors, and then the females tend to be like tans or browns or blacks. They're very neutral in color. So for this, I wanted to kind of get an in-between of like a neutral, but not like just a plain, I guess, earthy color. So I talked with a couple of friends in the Twitch chat, and I decided on basically purple. Like I thought purple with little hits of pink is kind of a nice neutral-ish color, but it still takes colors from the male color palette. So they look like they're related in some way in terms of their coloring, but it's not like the females are like crazy bright like the males. I thought the males having more of those pinkish, purpley blues would make it a lot brighter and pop compared to the female, and then the purple just makes it more subdued for the female. But I wanted to add some pinks, so I added a little bit to the tail, as well as kind of like little hits of color highlight on their plating on their back and along their body. And then for their whiskers, I kind of wanted to do it a little bit opposite to the males. Like I really liked the males having the pink to blue to brown. But for the females, the brown to pink to blue-ish purple was really speaking to me. So I kind of flipped their coloring around on their whiskers. So with the color concepts done, it was time to jump in and do a couple of sketch concepts to show different aspects that I wanted to portray for these creatures. I realized that I wanted to do like a couple more of these, so I'll probably add a few more to my portfolio, but at least for these initial ones, I wanted to show a couple of primary parts of the body or like things that these creatures do. So for example, with the one with the creature kind of going from branch to branch at the top, I wanted to show off the different coloring that is present on the body that would be a little bit harder to see on the left. The left coloring, you can kind of see there's a little bit of stripage going on the stomach, right between the arm and the leg, underneath the plating of the back. I wanted there to be a shot where you could see the striping a little bit easier from the creature. So I was like, oh, if it's swinging from branch to branch, the body is extended and you can totally see the stripes like on the underbelly of the creature. And then I wanted to find a use for the giant antenna on the faces, like these giant whisker antenna. And at first I was thinking like maybe it could help sense things within their environment, or maybe be used for finding smaller creatures. And with that, I was like, well, we could use it for fishing. They could put their antenna in the water to try to sense the prey in the water. And then I thought they could also use that, which I didn't sketch, but I would love to see them use that with hunting like bugs in like big trees, or digging through the dirt to find those larger bugs. All right, we are done with this creature concept and I absolutely adore it. So I think out of the four though, the vulture one is still my favorite, but this is now my close second because it's just very colorful and kind of, it feels different to me than what I would usually do, but also kind of familiar. It's a weird thing to describe, but I really like how these look. The Twitch chat suggested that with the male and female color combo that maybe I should explore like having color instead of just making it brown or like a very neutral color, because like for example with mandrills, they have all these cool colors, but then the female mandrills are just kind of like different shades of brown, and I didn't want to just totally wash out any color from the female at all. So the male is for sure super colorful. We got a lot of cool blues and purples and pinks, and then the female, I wanted it just to really hone in on the purples so they're a little bit more toned down and not as bright as the pink male counterpart. I also wanted to show a little bit more about them. For example, I'm picturing along where their ribs would be, kind of by their belly, we'd have some stripage. I kind of picture it as like bleeding over paint from those plates that are from the isopod. And then I was going back and forth on what they would use their longer like whiskery antennae for. We had the great idea of making it for fishing. I was thinking about them using it to maybe detect different things in their surroundings, which I guess they could technically still use it for, but I really like the idea of them maybe putting it in the water and holding them very still so then they can feel like the currents changing around it and trying to see if like fish would approach them. Especially with the males, I have another idea that maybe since the male, the end of their antennae are pink, maybe the fish see them kind of as worms, but I guess that wouldn't really work with the logic of the female. But I could see fish being interested in being like, what is this thing? And then they just kind of scoop them and grab them with the isopod claw end of the tail. And then I really liked this sketch from my initial concepts, so I decided to color it with the female colors, and I just really like how this concept page turned out overall. So yeah, I had a blast making this one. This one was really cool and weird and interesting, especially with the isopod thrown in there. And if you guys want to take a stab at creating something with these different monsters and creatures, make sure to like post it and tag me on like Twitter and Instagram, because I'd really love to see what creatures you guys think of with these different animals. So thanks again guys so much for stopping by and checking out this video, and I hope hope you enjoyed this mini series. Like I said, we got one more video left where we're gonna put all of the creatures together against a really cool background. So if you want to see that video and get an alert for when it comes out, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so then you get like a notification as soon as it goes live, and follow me on social so then you can see the full artwork up close and personal on there. But anyway, thanks again guys so much for stopping by, and I will see you all next time. Bye everybody.